Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Drop Mic. My name is Ted, and I will be your host for tonight. Well, not too long ago, right, if you ask that question, who pays the bills? The answer will be very simple. But with evolving beliefs, shifting societal norms, issues of fairness and equality, and the new age of independent woman, things are not as clear as they used to be. Right? Nowadays, when the check comes, it gets a little awkward at the table. And whatever happens next determines the future of a relationship, or even can be the end of said relationship. Once again, thank you for tuning in. You're watching Drop Mic episode 12. My name is Ted. Welcome. All right. As always, I'm joined with a group of young adults, men and women. You know, because I know sometimes you guys complain that the panelists can be biased because it's either, well, most of the time only women. tonight we made sure to bring some diversity to the panel. So, without any further delay, I'll have them introduce themselves. I'll start with you, Tati. Can you please tell us your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tati. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a registered nurse. I'm at school. I also have a podcast as a fellow panelist, Dolly, called Girlfriend's Guide Path. And I'm excited to give my view on this topic. I'm currently single. I have been in a relationship in the past, so my view would be based off of those experiences.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. Next, we have Anzi.
Yes, I am Andy and uh, work as a software engineer. And also, well, I like to just, I don't know, I really just talk about topics, philosophy, that interests me. Interested in, bringing Haitian culture kind of like to the same level as the mainstream culture. That's one of the goals. And I'm very excited to discuss those topics. I'm here to learn and also to share my viewpoints. And yeah, thank you.
Very good, very good. Next, we have Mudli, or Mudle.
All right, good evening.
Good evening, man.
Yes, my name is I'm in the Reading, Massachusetts area. So I'm a biomedical engineer, and I work as a medical device engineer for a pharmaceutical company in the Boston area. I'm married, newly married. I have a 2 months old son. So yeah, so I'm excited to be here tonight and to share my view on the topic that we're gonna debate today. All right, thank you for having me today.
All right, all right. Thank you, Mudli, and congratulations, by the way, on the baby.
Thank you, man.
Next,
Thank
we
you.
have Darlene.
All right. My name is Darlene. I live in Massachusetts like everyone else on this panel. I'm a director of an inpatient psychiatric unit, in school for a postgraduate certification in to be a psych NP. My brother actually has been on the show before, Max. Love you, Max. I'm interested in learning, because you could always learn from.
Awesome. Thank you, Darlene. And yeah, Max has been on the show a couple of times, and I believe he's coming back on the show before the end of the season. We've had the opportunity to work with Max for a few years now. So I guess dates back to 2015, 2016. So we're looking forward to Max coming back to Texas. Next, we have Dali.
Is Dolly, also from Massachusetts, like everyone else here. Some of you might know me as Ellie from my podcast with my lovely host, Tati. Podcasting Girlfriend's Guide podcast. Please go check it out. I'm a grants administrator at one of the hospitals here in Boston, and I'm from Shekinah SDA Church in Medford, and as I'm a director, children's ministry director at Shekinah. And like everyone else on the show tonight, I'm really excited to talk about the topic tonight and can't wait to hear everyone's opinion.
All right, all right. Well, thank you, everybody. And we're going to jump right in, guys. I have a few questions. I'll start with the ladies. So, someone said that in a relationship, right, as long as you're being authentic, you're making your woman feel respected, finances don't really matter in the beginning. So what do you ladies think of this? I'll start with you, Tati.
In the beginning, in the beginning, finance to be on my mind. At the same time, I'm 25, so if I'm pursuing me, we're looking for a future. So eventually, the conversation in finances will be had. So even though it's not heavy in the beginning, I would prefer to have that conversation somewhat in the beginning, only to know where we're heading and how this is going to go. I don't believe the first date I should know how much do you make, not at all. But I do think it does play a role in the relationship that we're trying to build.
Okay. What do you think, Darlene?
You see, the thing about finance is always in the picture, right? You could go back to that awkward right in the first date, right? When the bill comes, right? The question is who pays for it? You see what I'm saying? And that's the beginning of finance, right? Because I'm a woman, do I feel the guy should always pay? That's the question. You see what I'm saying? So I think finance it may not be direct finance, but there's something symbolic that will be indicative of how the relationship will transpire. So it's always there.
Okay. What about you, Dali?
I think the two lovely ladies gave wonderful finance in the beginning. I believe should definitely. Just like Darlene mentioned, it automatically comes up on the first date, where I've heard stories of guys, even on the first date, already has a budget, and some girls are not okay with budgets. So it's kind of like, how transparent can you be? Sometimes through text before the first date. So I think maybe not even through text in the beginning, but sometimes you have to be transparent. If you have a budget in the beginning, if you're going on a date, I don't think there's anything wrong to bring up, because some guys, they feel awkward because they don't want to pay for the first date, and it's kind of like, how do they let the girl know that? I actually would want to have that conversation before going on a date, so I'm not embarrassed. I'm not want devant like the waiter. So if someone is highly strongly believes that a woman should pay on a date, before that. So then when I go there, which I'm the kind of woman, I'm always prepared. I always have my wallet ready. So I do think finance should, or like dates or anything, should be brought up.
Okay, thank you. So, gentlemen, as far as you guys are concerned, when do you think finance becomes important? When do you guys bring finance up in a relationship or a dating phase, I guess?
Let me go first. So I think that on the first date, bringing the issue of finance in there, right? Because I feel like me as a guy, if I ask about me, I know I have to pay because I ask you out, right? It's my responsibility to pay, actually, right? So we're gonna have a date, and if it's like an investment for the. So if he feels like it's someone he will spend time with, right? So he could start going on a sixth and a third, or fourth, and they start dating, and then there's so many things that's coming to the picture. Like, what type of person is she, right? Is she the person I want to spend the rest of my life with? Like really, it's something that's really based on the connection that you two have with each other, right? Because until then, I don't think there's a place really for finance, and all of those dates, like we go to a date, so and I ask you on a date, right, you pay for it, but at the same time, if you like pay for it, I'm sure. I mean, I'm fine with it, the bill, sure. But if I ask you on a date, I feel like it's my obligation, really, to pay for it. But I don't think it's really a time that really when someone start going on date in the beginning to really start talking about finance. I feel like it's too early for that.
Okay, very interesting point. So, Andy, along those same lines, though, I have a question for you. So let's say, like Moodley said, right? If he asks a woman out on a date, he feels like it's his obligation to pay. So what if you're talking to a young lady, she invites you out? Do you think it's your obligation to pay, or should she pay for the date since she's the one that made the first move?
I think I let them pay. I mean, I think, hey, all right. I mean, I think it depends on what relationship we had in the beginning, you know? 'Cause, I mean, we may have been friends at the beginning, and
Yeah.
she just, hey, come on, let's go out. Okay, that's a different conversation. But let's say it's like somebody I met in the street, and that's a different thing now. Now, because like there's that initial, maybe the first date is the initial contact, and I mean, oh, I'd feel lucky if you know, a girl that I barely knew asked me on a date. Hey, sure, bring me along, I'll come. You know, I mean, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So for the ladies, do you ladies always expect the men to pay on the first date? I know, Dali, you mentioned that you always have your wallet ready, right?
Absolutely.
But I know you bring your wallet along, but do you still expect the guy to pay?
Um,
You can go ahead,
Precisely,
Dali.
I'm the kind of person, I love going out to eat. I love it. I love it. So I'm the kind of person, if I go out to eat, I'm going to spoil myself. But I don't expect the person who's taking me out to spoil me. But
Yeah.
I would appreciate if he had asked me out to pay for my bill. But I am, like you
Yeah.
said in the beginning, there's the independent woman. That independent woman, that's me. That's me. So I'm already ready to pay my bill. But if you pay that bill, it gives you an extra bonus. I appreciate you for that. And
Okay.
also, I am also the kind of woman, I do appreciate you to do that. And I'm also that type of woman that if you were to cover the bill before and you asked me out on a date and the date went well, I will ask you out on a second date, and I myself would cover that bill.
Interesting. What do you think about that, Darlene?
A professor in my undergrad, he said, dating is for collecting information, right? The reality is this, right? We are all professionals. We're all making our own money, right? So this is what it comes down to. Right? I'm more interested in the why, right? Am I trying to pay the bill because I'm trying to assert myself as an independent woman and I don't need you, right? Or are you the kind of guy that needs to pay, right? Are you the kind of guy that needs to pay because I am a man, right? And if I don't pay the bill, that means I'm a man. You see what I'm saying? So for me, my thing
Yeah.
is this. A date is a date. Who cares? Money is money. Who cares? But for me, especially if you're at the point in your life where you're looking for a relationship or somebody to get married to, all this stuff is symbolic, right? So this is the way I see it, right? If the guy says, you know what, I'm going to pay, I feel like as a woman, right, my responsibility is to do that, like act like I'm going to go and pay, even though I can pay, right? To communicate to him that, listen, this is, right? I'm not for you to, I don't need you to pay. And I really do appreciate that you pay. But me doing that, me offering is communicating, I hope, that I'm not a princess that's looking for a man to pamper me. However, I respect you as a man and do your thing. And I appreciate it. That's the way I see it.
Interesting.
I agree.
Very good point, though. What do you think, Tatsy?
I agree with both of them. I definitely understand Dolly's point of I'm an independent woman. Like I will always have my money ready because you just never know.
Yeah.
Some guys, they forget their wallet at home. So you always have to be ready. So, but I agree with Darlene. It's a symbolic thing. As she said, we're all professionals. We all have money. I'm pretty sure if we're at this point in our lives, if we're going out on dates, it's hopefully to establish something meaningful. So it's definitely something symbolic. I would hope that he would offer to pay, especially if it's the first date, especially if he invites me out. Granted, if it's the first date and I invited him out, I'm paying. It would be nice if he offered, but I wouldn't let him pay because it's the principle of I invited you out. So if a man invites me out, it's the first date, we're trying to get to know each other. It's a symbolic thing as I believe you should pay. And Darlene is nice because she's going to reach and pretend. I'm not going to reach and pretend. I'm going to let you pay because you invited me out. And next day, if I invite you out, I'll pay. I don't have to pretend to show you I have it. I know that. And then if it continues on and we grow further, you'll see that I have it.
Okay. So, for my gentleman.
Can I just clarify?
Yeah,
Let me
go
just
ahead,
clarify this.
Go ahead.
So everybody has had the experience, and this is the thing. We're always framing these conversations from a perspective of like male versus female. We have all had the experience of going out with a group of people, right? And that one person forgot their wallet. Like, listen, the most embarrassing thing, right? Like, or the person that's like, oh, let me calculate the tips on what I ate. Like, I don't mess with that stuff. That's ghetto. Please don't do that. So this is my thing, right? This is my thing. I'm always prepared to pay, period. If he said to me, I want you to pay, I will pay, right? But the fact is, the likelihood of there being a second date, I would have to inquire a little bit more, because I'm like, what is that really about? Because this is the thing. To pursue someone one way or the other requires an investment. So if you don't have the money, you should be playing. I'm sorry. That's the way I see it.
Oh. Wow.
Did that hurt? I'm sorry.
But I mean, there's the idea of free dates, right? Spending time with the person. So, for you gentlemen, some guys have mentioned that, it's a turnoff for them if a woman expects them to pay for everything, or if she expects them to pay every time. I want to know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I think at this point. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Anzi.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was gonna say at this point, I think it's it would be a turnoff. I think it would be, because like the other ladies mentioned, everybody's a professional, right? So
That's
I
right.
mean, and I think we also have to start defining what's a date? Is it dinner? Is it going to the park for a walk? I think there's a spectrum of money. I mean, me, empty wallet, I show up. Let me be closer. Empty wallet. I assume that I go on a date and I'm broke, right? Does she like me while I am broke? That's the question. I mean, you say, Darlene said, you go on a date to gather information. Maybe that's the information I'm trying to get. Does she like me even if I'm broke?
So, that's very interesting. So my question for you, though, before I go to you, Mudley. Let's say you invited her out, right? She was working, she's hungry, you invite her out. Would you bring an empty wallet and say you want to see if she likes you while you're broke? Would you do that?
Well, if she's hungry, I mean, I'll cook for her. But naturally, usually I would basically go on the cheapest possible date I can go. Yeah. Let's go for a walk.
Okay.
Let's go by the river, sit down by the bench, and look at the birds flying. Let's talk.
Can I say something?
I knew the
Can I
ladies were.
say
Please.
something?
Sure, go ahead.
Andy mentioned before that we need to define what a date is. So,
Yes.
as a young lady, a date to me is something we could literally just like sit outside on my front porch, and that moment I spent with you was amazing. Or we could literally park outside in your car, and that talk we had, that was amazing. A date doesn't have to be money spent. I do agree with you on that. But I don't think you have to worry whether or not you have to show her if you're broke or not. I think I don't think you have to do that.
Can I just say this? My thing is
wait,
that
can I go?
Oh, sorry.
Sure, go ahead, Mudley.
Oh, okay. Man, you guys have been talking about so much. Like, I need to talk. Listen, I think that, first of all, right? Yeah, like Dolly said, right? So you don't have to go on a date to spend money, right? Me personally, like I used to go on a date. I don't have money, So I'm like, you just go for a walk. I feel
Yeah.
like it's the best date ever. You go, you
Mm-hmm.
go with someone, you go for a walk, you spend time talking to each other. You see the type of person she is. You don't have to go somewhere and spend money with that person. Secondly, if I have to go on a date with you, if I have to go on a date with you and I don't have enough money to pay for the date, I'm gonna say
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go somewhere cheap. Like somewhere I can afford. So are you
Yeah.
gonna get mad because I can't when you're somewhere expensive, are you gonna feel like, oh
Mm.
no, he's not the man for me, he's not the man I'm looking for because he cannot bring me somewhere expensive. But I mean, like me myself, I know who I am, like I
Yeah.
know the type of future I have. I know who I'm gonna be in the future, like I know I'm working hard, like like if you can accept who I am today, why should I be spending time with you, and build a relationship with you, right? No, the person I want to marry, right, is the person who wanted to date me when I was broke. If I can pay for it, you want a second date, a third date, 10th, whatever. You say, okay, if I don't have money to go on a date with you, okay, babe, let's go on a date, and you're gonna pay. You should not be feeling that I have to be the one always paying for it. No, you want to split the bill? Let's split the bill. You want to pay for it? Yes, pay for it. Because nowadays, women, they are young professional. Women are working, especially in our community, in the Black community. Women, most women have college degrees, compared to men. So that means you guys can pay for your own food, right? Why not pay for me? Why not help me if one day I can pay for it? I don't think it should be because I cannot pay, because I cannot bring you somewhere expensive, that he's not the person for me. Like me, I have a plan. I know where I'm gonna be 10 years from now, 5 years from now, right? If you cannot see me for who I am today, I wouldn't want to date someone like that. So that's what I think. And then
Okay.
after that, we need to talk about the term independent woman. What does that
Mm.
mean? Was woman ever
Mm.
enslaved? You know?
Oh, mm, okay.
So what does that mean? Like we need to
No.
talk about that. I am an independent woman.
Can I just say this?
Listen, I understand that. Listen. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just curious as
Hmm.
to Undi's strategy, right? For me, I'm a psych nurse, so I don't care about what you're saying. I'm trying to understand why you're saying it. Okay. So my thing is this:
Mm-hmm.
what is your goal in misrepresenting yourself as being broke? Like, what is your goal? What are you hoping to
Mm.
accomplish?
Is it a misrepresentation as much as it is a
We are.
setting a baseline, or how much do you like me for me? That's the first thing I want to figure out, right? Say I take you
But I don't.
out to the cheapest place I can go, and you show up the next
Yeah.
day, and then, well, maybe something slightly more expensive. You show up the next day. I mean, I'm not saying that's what I'm gonna do, but really, you gotta start saying, "Oh, she came back. She came back for me, not for what
But
the experience I provide her." Because a lot of women are looking for an experience rather than being with a person, with a man. That's a different thing.
Interesting.
so this is the way I see
That's a
it,
good
right?
point.
Can I just say this, right? This is the way I see it,
Yeah, go ahead.
right? A man who shows up to a date with no money, right? That tells me that he's a poor planner, right? That in a case of a emergency, you lack the ability to protect me, right? So I'm not interested in your
I
money.
see.
You see what I'm saying? It's essentially the equivalent, right? Uh, It's the equivalent of somebody showing up on the first day of. I have to interview people for my job, right? It's kind of like a person who sits
Mm-hmm.
down and says, "I just want you to like me for me." Like, nah, you have to show me. You have to show me why I want to pursue the next step with you.
Mm.
That's what it is. My thing is this.
But like,
Can I just say?
I kind
So
if
it's
I,
only financial dimension.
Let me just finish saying this, right? I'm in the business of, as a woman, I'm looking for value add, right? I'm not looking for a man to
Mm-hmm.
pay for my house. I'm not looking. My thing is this: I'm human, so I have certain deficits, right? So you may think that because I'm a woman, I want your money, but no, I just want your time and I want your company. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is this: I don't need you to take me to top of the hub. My thing is like, yes, walk with me. I'm good with that. But what I'm saying is,
Okay, why?
Yeah.
collect
Why?
information. That's it.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead. So why ask me for ice cream if I ask you to go for a walk? Why not just walk and talk?
Because it's hot and I
Straight
want
up.
ice cream.
No, I'm
I
serious.
just also want to
She wants
say,
ice cream.
I just want to say this. What Darlene said, in terms of it does show like it's not even just the money. Like if something happened, were you able to? Because me, when I go on a date, I bring cash. I bring my debit card. I bring my credit
Yeah.
card. I even bring my MBTA and my AAA card because you don't know what's gonna happen if my card doesn't work or if it breaks down. You know, I need a way to get back home. I don't know if you know, you just have to be always prepared. So the being broke, it's not being broke. It's just if something happens, how are you going to not protect me, but protect yourself? And
Straight up.
another thing with finances, and I feel like this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like, okay, oh yeah, we can be with me when I'm broke, blah blah blah. That's okay. That's fine for some people. That's fine. If you're truly a good person and the money on it's not there at the time, I completely understand that, and I do understand there are women who take advantage of men for money. But at the same time, like you said, Mudle, Black women are on the rise. So I did not work hard. My parents did not work hard to get me to this point for me to not enjoy. Independent women, I can enjoy my life financially by myself. But I also don't think I should be faulted for wanting someone who can do that with me. I personally want to know if I'm trying to go on this vacation, I worked hard enough to get to that point, and I can have a partner who's able to do that with me. We don't need to make the same amount. You don't need to make more than me. But I want to know realistically, our lifestyles can balance, and people forget finances plays a huge role in that. I worked hard to enjoy my life financially where I am today. My parents did as well. I would like someone I can enjoy that same type of lifestyle with, and finances plays a role.
I do want to say something real quick to answer Moodley's question. He said independent woman. I do want to define what independent woman is. As we think long time ago, the word independent woman, from the fact that long time ago women we were the ones taking care of our children, taking care of our husband. But then women had to start going to work, right? And now we have women, like you said, Black women are the most educated women, and we are very successful. We have amazing jobs. So independent, we've gained that word, that title, because we are independent. There are so many independent Black women who are single mothers, first of all, who are single mothers who are actually taking care of the whole family without a man in the picture. So I think in general, single independent woman comes from the fact of being able to really hold yourself up and being able to take care of yourself. But not saying that we don't need a male figure, but I do think that we've earned the title of saying that we are independent.
Yeah,
But
sometimes
I feel like when we
women.
do use the term, a lot of men do get offended, and I just don't understand
No, it's not.
why.
Listen, it's sometimes no. A lot of women sometimes they misunderstand what the term mean, right?
So what do
It
you
could mean
think that means?
it could mean listen. It could mean something different for a woman,
So
right?
what does it mean for you,
It could mean that we've seen this a lot. It couldn't be that an independent woman is someone who doesn't take anything from a man. Like I'm talking about, like if you're doing something, why can't I tell you not to do it? You know, because in a relationship, listen, in a relationship, because you guys need to understand that what a relationship is. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
like it's a
Yes, sir.
it's something something more and deeper than what we see today, right? It's more than what we watch on TV. Okay, when you start living with someone, you're gonna see that being in a relationship with someone is even. I'm talking about the women only. I'm talking about the men too. Okay, because in our community sometimes Men, we are so prideful sometimes. We think that your wife is your mom. You know, you can say whatever you want, or you can say whatever you want to a woman. Disrespect your wife anytime you want. No, it goes both ways. So I mean, this is it's what it is in a relationship. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I understand what you mean, the term independent. Okay, but a lot of women use it. Okay, they don't give it that same definition you just did. Okay, because yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Go ahead, Darlene.
Can
Okay.
I just
So
say,
let's move to the next question, guys. We'll come back to this one a little bit later. So let's talk about the marriage stage, right? So fast forward to, let's say, 50 dates later. Oh, sorry. Siri is talking to me. Fast forward to 50 days later, right? And now you two are married. So, Mudle, you can give us some information on that without revealing too much personal information, right? When it comes to the marriage now, how do you go about splitting the bills or paying for the bills, I should say? Does income play a factor, or do you just say, well, I'm the man, I'm the man of the house, so I'm going to pay for everything?
Oh no.
Like, how does that?
No, it doesn't. For me, I don't know. Different people might see it differently. Some women or some men believe that when you marry someone, you should that person should just stay home or have her own job. You know, do whatever she wants
Yeah.
with your money, and you the guy, you taking care of her, right? But I don't see it like this. Okay, because they always say that marriage is a 50-50 relationship. I mean, financially too, it is. Okay, I'm not paying the bill. We are paying the bill. Okay, I feel like when you married to someone, you know, the word I, you know, you should stop using that. You know, use we. We are doing this. We are doing that. Right? It's our money that's doing it because um we married, right? And we're gonna go together financially. This is mostly beneficial for people who are married and who really love each other. Okay, who are 100% committed to the marriage and the relationship. If you are in the marriage, you have one foot in the marriage and the other one out. You know, it's not this type of strategy is not good for you. Okay, it's not gonna work out, and that's why we see most of the marriage actually divorce a lot of the time, like divorce happen because of financial situations, you know, because if you as a married couple, right, you don't understand your finances, you sit down, you know, you have meetings. I mean, it's serious, like you need to have financial meetings in your marriage, you know, talk about finances, you know, talk about savings, you know. If you the husband, you're spending too much money on your toys, you know, buying stuff, I mean, as a wife, you should tell them that. And if you, the woman, you spend too much money on Amazon, you know, especially Corona time right now, like buying stuff all the time, you know, like you, the guy, you need to say that because we have a plan. Like when we retire, like what are we gonna do? Am I gonna
That's
still?
right.
Am I gonna be 70 and still working? No, I want to be able to retire and go on vacation. You know, I have college for my fun for my kids. You know, all of those things. But if you don't work on our finances together, this is not gonna happen. If you have your own little money somewhere and I have my own little money somewhere, like we can't really plan for our futures together. You know, it's something that should be discussed mutually together in a marriage. So that's how I see it.
Okay. So, ladies, and I mean, Andy, you can pitch in as well. What is you guys' view on splitting the bills in a marriage?
Well, just from my perspective, at this point, it's just a partnership, right? I mean, at this point, it's everybody does what they can, and everybody brings up, I don't know, basically balance. It's like you balance each other out, and it may not necessarily be a financial thing. I mean, there's so many other things that needs to be done in a relationship. It's not just financial support, you know. Sometimes just having a woman who's there for you when you're having a difficult time is just a powerful thing that can be more valuable than her transferring some money on your account, you know? And that's one of the things I would say. Yeah. It's a split. I mean, it's a
Okay.
partnership. Everybody does what they can.
All right. Thank you. What about you, ladies?
You see
For
the
me, oh,
go ahead.
you go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You see the
Go
issue
ahead.
that is like when it comes to relationships, right? It goes back
Yeah.
to your original question. Like, at what point do you have the discussion about finances, right? We talk about compatibility when it comes to everything else, right? But when it comes to finances, right,
Yeah.
it's like you essentially enter into a business partnership, right? Where now your credits are
Mm-hmm.
impacted, right? Don't mess with
That's
my
right.
credit, okay? Then now you want to talk about whether you're compatible with each other. You see what I'm saying? My thing is this:
Mm-hmm.
if you understand the seriousness of finances, right? You don't wait until you don't sign the contract with your business partner and say, so how do you think that we should? How do you think that we should manage our finances? This is not a wise decision in terms of how you navigate, right? Because the thing about
Mm-hmm.
finances are actually the seed, the foundation as to how you're going to navigate this world, right? So finances comes
That's
with
right.
like, what is your vision? What is your vision for your future? Do you want to work until you're
Mm-hmm.
65? Do we want to pay off all our debt, right? So we can retire by the time we're 45. You see what I'm saying? And if the person doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
a financial mindset that's compatible with yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be going there to begin with, because at this point, once you
Mm.
say I do, everything is mixed, and this concept of my money versus your money and fitting the bill. Listen, if we're one, it's coming from the same account, so it doesn't even matter.
That's right. That's
So
right.
my thing is this.
Yep.
My thing is this. My thing is take all the emotions out of love. Take out all the fantasy and the romanticizing out of it. It's a business partnership. Look at it like that. Is this a person that I trust to manage my finances, right? Is this a person that I trust that if something happens to me, that I trust this man to be able to raise my children? You know what I'm saying? If
Very
people
important.
see
Very
it more
important.
like this, right? More like that, I think that we would be in a different place when it comes to the dynamics that exist between man and woman.
Very interesting. Go ahead, Tatiana. You were gonna say something.
Well, I'm not married, so I'm just speaking from my perspective as of now. When I get married, who knows? Um,
Yeah.
Finances are a very serious conversation, very serious topic. I like Mudley's point of like within your marriage, you need to have financial meetings. You need to discuss like, hey, I noticed you've been spending too much here. We need to cut back. We're trying to save for this. I think that's very smart. I have been raised
Very.
that when you get married, you become one, money's together, but at the same time, you should always have your own separate account and show to the partner. And it's not a
That's
secret.
right.
You know I have my money. I know you have money. And Kunya, we have money together.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, when I
That's
get
right.
married, that's how I would like to have it. Because I also feel like what we need to take into account, yes, we become one. And like I said, I'm not married. I'm talking from a single point of view, so things may change. But if I have $200,000 in debt and you only have $10,000, do I think it's fair that you're going to take on my 200 compared to your 10? I don't think so. Would you like to help me? Yes. But I also think the money that I have for me, that's going towards my debt. We already are going to accumulate so much debt together as getting married, so we can focus on that with our joint account. But my account is for my debt that I'm coming into, and I think he has the right to do the same. I don't think it should be a situation where my $200,000 automatically is on your shoulders when it doesn't have to be, and I have the finances on my own separate from yours to take care of that. If you want to help me, that is completely great, but I don't think it should be an obligation on your part.
I don't
So
know.
on our last episode, I'm sorry. On our last episode, I know some of our panelists, they were talking about having a separate account so that they could, how did they say it? He said, in case she wants to surprise the husband or, the husband wants to surprise the wife, you have to have your separate account because you don't want to order the birthday present on the joint account, right? Then it ruins the surprise. So I get your point. Now, you said something. So you don't want them to shoulder your debt, right? Because you're going to accumulate a lot of debt together as a married couple. So what are you referring to? Are you talking about mortgage, or are you guys just going to go on a vacation and
like
max out the credit card or something?
No, I mean, I'm more thinking like debt in terms of long-term bills, like mortgage, things like that. Like we're already going to pay
Mm-hmm.
strenuous bills together as one, and I just
Yeah.
feel like we had our lives and education or whatever that we had our lives prior to that. I don't think it's a necessity to bring that onto the other person. We can have that conversation. We can talk about it and say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I have this amount in student loans, or I had this, or there was a time I had really bad credit and I had to take this amount of loans. How comfortable do you feel if all our money's together and then technically your money is going toward my personal debt before I even met you? Conversations like that need to be had. I think a lot of people don't think about that. They just think about we're married, mortgage, utilities, that's it. But no, what about the bills you had before you met me? How are you taking care of those? Do you
Mm-hmm.
expect me to help you take care of those? So if they want to, that's completely fine as long as conversations about those things are happening.
Okay. Okay. Very good point. I think Darlene was going to say something.
Yeah, I think it goes back to this whole concept of like looking at a relationship from like a business standpoint, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
a liability is a liability, an asset is an asset, right? So if we are one, right, your debt is my debt,
Yeah.
regardless of when it happened. It's a deficit in terms of our accounts. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think it. My
Mm-hmm.
thing is this: marriage is not about. So I will assume all responsibility from the day of marriage. It doesn't work that way. It's like, listen, the person is worth it enough to to build a life with. You see what I'm saying? Because this is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at it from the perspective of mine versus his, like how do you have kids with somebody like that? You know what I mean? My thing is, it's
I
about
see.
like finance is the simple part about it. Like when it comes to kids and how you raise your kids and discipline your kids, it's about to get more complicated. So if you guys can get on the same page when it comes to the
Mm-hmm.
finance, and if it's your issue versus my issue, like nah, I can't get down with that. If my
Mm.
if my husband has $150,000 in debt and I'm
Mm-hmm.
choosing to marry him, I have $150,000 in debt. That's the way I see it because he's worth the
Yeah.
investment,
Mm.
worth the
Wow. Wow.
sacrifice. That's the way I see it.
I
And this
see.
is why I agree
I
with
agree
Darlene.
100%.
She brought up a good point. She brought up a good point in the beginning about financial mindset. And a lot of times I
Mm-hmm.
feel like in relationships, we try to avoid the conversation of finance. Um,
Yeah.
and I don't think we should be doing that. I think it's important to be discussing finance in relationships because a lot of people might not have the same financial mindset as you. Like I'm over here at 25 years old. If someone is pursuing me, I know it's for the long run. It's not time for games. So if I know that you're pursuing me, we're working towards something serious. We're working towards marriage. So if I'm trying to have a good credit, but you're the kind of person who really doesn't care, I need to know that. I need to know that now because that's part of the decision making of someone. Is it someone I want to spend the rest of my life with? Because if this person has $150,000 in loans and doesn't seem to really care about even trying to pay this off, that is important to know. It's not 3 years later when you guys are thinking about marriage, about seriously getting married to be discussing this, but this is something very important during your relationship, early on in your relationship, to really discuss with someone, to really understand their financial mindset. As Darlene brought up about retiring, like, is this someone who really cares if they retire by 65, or is this probably someone who wants to work until they're 80? But you're over here trying to retire at 65. So compatibility is very important, but I think a lot of people dismiss financial compatibility, and that's also important to also include when you are looking for somebody.
All right, good point. Can I add something? All right.
Go ahead.
So yes. So I feel like there's something even more important we should be talking about first.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things, finances, whatever you're talking about right now, it's not really gonna matter if at first there's no love in the relationship, right? Um,
Mm.
yeah, if there's is love is non-existent, none of this is gonna work, right?
Mm.
So yeah, whichever idea you have, it's not gonna work. You're gonna tell the person this and that financially. We need to take up of our finances. Like, okay, whatever. Or let's say you met a gold digger or something like that. You think the person is with you because she love you, or she love you for your money. It's also something we should be talking about, because right now we're going so much into finance and money. It feels like we're trying to quantify what love is, and the unit is dollar.
Mercy.
When it shouldn't be this. But because we are living
That's
in a
very
material
interesting.
world, yeah, because we are living in a material world, we focus so much on the type of car that we have, the type of house that we should be living in, and now finances mean so much. I'm not saying that to discard finance, okay? If you are dating someone, okay, that person doesn't take his or her finances seriously, run. Okay, if someone has a lot of credit card bill, they don't even want to pay the credit card bill. Okay, they owe every bank in the country. Run. That person's gonna ruin you. Okay, it's not a good
That's right.
relationship for you to be in, right? Because you're gonna be, because if you don't have money really, in this material world, you need that to live a good life, right? So, but at the same time, we also need to focus on what's more important. Okay, is the love really in that relationship, or no? That was my point.
I remember
I
I went to a
just
church, right? I went to a church and a pastor was talking about relationship and marriage, right? And his thing was that love shouldn't be the primary factor, because there's gonna come a time when it's gonna fade, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not that it's inevitable, but he said eventually over time it's going to fade. So the other pieces that make up the relationship, they have to be strong, right? So to come back to your point, Mudley, I do think love is important, but I definitely think finances are very, very important in a relationship or a marriage, right? So we're going to be taking a break, guys. I want to remind our audience that they can ask questions in the comment sections on Facebook and on YouTube. We're going to be pulling those questions and ask them to our panelists after the break. You guys will also be able to call in. The number will be coming up on the screen shortly, and you guys can call in to ask a question or, to share your opinion on the topic as well. So don't go anywhere. Continue sharing the feed. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
An army of youth from all walks of life, dedicated and devoted to making a difference in the community. We strive to be the change that we want to see, putting our God-given talents to good use while relying on Him for guidance and strength. We do not reject tradition. We simply seek improvement. By turning both strengths and flaws into assets for the Lord. We are heavily armed with mass construction weapons, those of faith, hope, love, and prayer. And we are looking to impact every single individual we encounter. We are PDF Ministry, proactive and devoted faith ministry.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. So, there's a lot of questions. Someone asked a question on YouTube, guys. They said, are we paying the bills in a marriage or before? Woodley, I'd like to hear your point on that.
Guy or the woman? Okay.
Or the person.
I think even before the marriage, right? A woman should offer to pay the bill. Why not? I don't see any big deal with that. Okay, if I'm going on a date with you, right, and you never even once, I don't think this is the woman for me, really. So if you don't put some boundaries before marriage, okay, so why do you think that this is gonna stop after marriage? Okay, this is gonna open a new world of trouble after marriage.
That's
All right. So I wanna marry someone who's gonna be there for me too. Because let's say I lose my job, who's gonna take care of the family? It's okay for a guy to lose his job. It's okay for a guy not to be working too. All right. As a man, I work hard, to take care of my family, and my wife too is working hard too. Right. So I think even before marriage, all right. So a woman should be offering to pay the bills. It shouldn't be a guy paying the bill every single time.
So I have a question. We brought that question up in last week's episode, and I want to bring it back this week. Let's say you're in a marriage or in a relationship, right? And I want to hear the ladies on this one. The guy decides, well, babe, I want to be a stay-at-home dad. What will be your reaction? I want to hear from the ladies. Go ahead, Tati.
My reaction would be, so you just woke up and decided this. So that means like we didn't have a conversation. Where is this energy coming from? Because if you're just waking up deciding you want to be a stay-at-home dad, we're gonna have a problem because this was never discussed. I didn't know this was coming anywhere. So now it's not even like, oh, you're a stay-at-home dad. It's like now all of the financial burden is on me. Am I equipped to take that on? You can't just wake up and say I don't want to work. We have to have like this. It's like you need to bring it up. Hey, honey, I think that you know what? I'm thinking about being a stay-at-home dad. Okay, let's sit down. Let's talk. Let's meet with a financial advisor. Can we feasibly do this? Can I manage all this on my own? And we're doing this. We need to have a conversation. It can never be, I'm just not going to work and it's all on you, because I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for a partnership where communication happens and we make decisions like that together.
Okay. Very good.
I completely agree. I agree with Tati. As we talked about before, with financials and finance, you can't just wake up one day and just be like, I want to be a stay-at-home dad. That's something that you would have to communicate and talk about. Like Tati said, talk about it with the financial advisor. Just in general, like if there were some change in income that ever happened, you have to always constantly talk about your incomes. If there was a promotion that happened, if there's a demotion that happened, there's always going to be changes. So for you to decide one day that, hey, I'm going to decide to be a stay-at-home dad. Hey, are you deciding to be a stay-at-home dad because, if we have a child, finding a nanny is expensive? Are you deciding to be a stay-at-home dad so we can save more money on childcare? Or are you deciding to be a stay-at-home dad because you have a project that you're pursuing? It has to be something that I personally see that is benefiting us as a couple, and is something that if it can fit our budget and if I personally can cover our finance, that is something that could be discussed. But that is something that has to be communicated and need to be discussed.
Very good point. So Anzi, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that kind of ties together with the initial stages of the relationship. Remember when I was saying
Yeah.
that she liked me for me? So it's like basically multiple parts. The first part is imagine further down in the relationship that I lose everything. Will she stick around? Because if
Mm.
the woman came along because of the experiences that I was able to provide her, and she no longer has the opportunity to experience those things, will she run away? That's the number one thing. And part of it also is that there are some women who are used to a certain lifestyle, like they say. Um, do you want a man who can spend money, or do you want a man who's financially literate? Because having money
Ooh,
does not necessarily
I
mean
like that.
that this person is out there spending or buying things. In fact, some people are very minimalist and they value human connection rather than really the unnecessary expenditure of money. So that's one
Ooh, I
thing that
like
was
that.
in my mind. And I think this is kind of like part of it is basically becoming a man of principle. You define certain principles that you say, this is my life. This is how I envision the future. And basically you work towards that and you find a woman, or if you're a woman, or you find someone that is going to help you achieve those goals. So maybe I want us to be a theater for that. That would be sweet. That would have to be a conversation that needs to be
But
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
want to say something. It kind of
Um.
contradicts what you were saying, Andy, about, oh, does she love me for my money? Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like if a woman one day decided after your 3 years of marriage and you guys have a child and she's like, hey, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, are you gonna start questioning her whether or not this was how long to financially depend on you?
Well,
I see.
definitely. I mean, the thing is, I'm not talking about financial ability as much as the outward display of money, right? So it's two different things here. It's not, when I say I go on the cheap end, it's not that I'm not able to provide for her. That's not the point. The point is to see her character, her personality. Is she someone that values lifestyle, money, material goods, or is she someone that value, more, building relationships with people and actually, basically, women who can focus on the things that matter, right? That's basically what I'm
Wow.
trying to get at, right? Yeah.
So, before we continue, guys, I believe we have a caller on the line. Let's put them through.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, how
I'm
you
pretty
doing?
good, and yourself?
Awesome. Who is that? Who's that lady? Who's that lady with that white headphones and the pretty red dress? Is that Jennifer Hudson?
Okay.
Hi,
Hello.
Yes.
I'm Tati.
Hello.
Yes.
That's Tatsy. Do you have a question for her?
Oh, she looked like Jennifer Hudson.
Thank you. That's a compliment. She's very
Oh.
beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, I have a question for her. My question
continue.
is how was Heaven when she left it? Because she's so gorgeous,
I haven't been yet.
I guess we can take this question offline. But thank you for calling, though. We appreciate you.
No problem.
All right, so that's
You may not
a
be.
fan.
Oh, girl.
People are shooting their shot on Drop Mic.
Oh, Lord
Yeah,
Jesus.
I put you guys in the
Oh, Lord Jesus. Sorry about that, guys. Let us continue.
Invite us to the wedding, okay?
Jesus Christ. I apologize for that. We screen our callers, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I need to
add
get with
something
my
to what?
team about what just happened. All right,
So yeah.
let's continue, guys. So,
Too
Mudli,
funny.
you said something very important earlier, right? You said in the marriage there should be financial meetings or business meetings per se, right? So,
Mhm.
do you think you should start having those meetings before the marriage as well? And if so, at what stage do you start having those meetings with that lady? I want to hear from everyone. Let's say 30 seconds each.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mudli.
I think that I mean you should have you should really discuss finances before you get married. Really see
Yeah.
what that person's think, financially.
Mm-hmm.
Is it someone who like to spend money, or is it someone who really think about finances and have control, on spending money, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't want to be with someone who spend every paycheck she gets, right? You make the money, and you spend it. So it's not a way to live, right? So you wanna be with someone who has discipline, okay, of paying her bills, knowing how to take over finances. So it's okay, like to have this discussion, about finances. But after marriage, now we start paying bills together, right? You need so now I think that it's the time that you should really start having financial meetings. Like me personally, I make my own spreadsheet, right? So we know, okay, uh, this week, you know, 2 weeks after, this is why we're paying, like how much we're making, how much is going to our savings, all of those type of things. You really need to start talking about those things, because if something happened, you need to have enough money um on your savings. You also need to start talking about investment. Um, um, yeah, where you gonna invest your money? Are we buying stocks? Are we investing in real estate? On college plans. All of it, it's like those things really. When you marry, all of those conversations. Those are the things that you really talk about. Financial meetings. From time to time, right? Knowing how are we gonna approach this bill? Should we get a new bill? You think this is too much? I think we should cancel Netflix for a while, or Hulu for a while. Let's try to get a better phone plan. All of those type of things that really, really need to talk about, to really take care of our finances.
What about you, Anzi? What do you think?
Could you please repeat the question?
Should you have financial meetings with your partner before the marriage or after the marriage? I
Oh,
guess during the
absolutely.
marriage.
I mean, I want to see what I'm getting myself into, right? That's a very important thing. As much as love is romanticized, really, money really can make or break a relationship and all. Even in the, like we were
Yeah.
discussing, in the initial stages of the relationship. So, really trying to see if she's on the same page as me as far as her lifestyle. Does she like to spend, like I was previously saying, or does she like to economize and actually build something? That's number one. Number two, how much debt is she in? This may not be a deal breaker per se, because I mean, there are good types of debt, right? Student loans, I think that would be one. A mortgage, but is it like a fifty
Medical
thousand
loan.
dollar credit card bill because you like to travel around the world to maintain your lifestyle? Those are things that definitely I would have to discuss with her. So definitely,
Yeah.
we should have a business meeting.
Okay. So I guess I can change the question up a bit for the ladies. So at what stage do you start talking finances with a guy you're dating?
Well, personally, I talk about finance. I would bring up finance during dating. Maybe I would say right in the beginning of, not right in the beginning, but like once we start seriously, as in like we're going to become serious. Only reason why is because like I said, I'm not looking to play any games, but looking to build something in the future with someone. And for someone who's really serious about finance and budgeting, I would need to know your plans and your future plans, because then if we're planning on uniting and becoming one, our plans become one. So having definitely having finance meetings as boyfriend and girlfriend in a relationship, I would say once a month at least, and talking about how are things this month. Like sometimes people don't communicate as much. So your significant other might be going through some financial issues, but it's always good to really communicate with your partner to see where they are in their at their point in their life.
So I believe we have another caller, guys. Tatsi, I guarantee you this one will be better than the last one. So let's put them through.
Where they are.
Yeah, it is going to be better. I promise. Hello, how are you?
I believe. Thanks for calling.
How's everybody doing?
That's pretty good. I'm hearing a
Thank you for
feedback.
having me.
Is your? Can you please put your volume down?
I have nothing on. Yeah, it is. Can you hear me? Better. I promise. Hello,
Because
how are
I'm
you?
hearing a
Hello?
playback. Give me 1 second. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
there's nothing on. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. I promise it's going to be better than the other one. I'm so sorry about that. I want to say good evening to everyone.
Good evening.
Tonight, I got a short comment, a very short comment that I have, the experience that I have before I got married. Just to give you the example of how important finances is on marriage. We're supposed to talk with especially financing. We need to actually have a conversation before we actually get married. I'm gonna tell you what. When my wife and I was actually getting married, before we got married, we had counseling. The pastor that was doing the counseling for us actually tell us to go pull our credit. And then when I pull my credit, and my fiance, who is my wife right now, pull her credit as well, and he see that our credit, the way our credit looks, depending on my credit and her credit, he said if we don't get that fixed, he will not get us. He will not marry us. He will not marry us if we don't get our financial like credit fixed. And I was really mad when he said that. And then in the long run, and he was actually doing something for us. Actually, me and my wife actually went to fix our credit. We fixed our credit, and he actually helped us to fix our credit. He actually, they're saying he actually helped us financially to show us, hey, that's what we need. If we don't have this, and that, and it's not going to work. But he actually tells us to put our credit. So this is very important. Financial is really, really important in a marriage, because if I didn't have counseling, and then if the pastor did actually tell us to put our credit, and if we did actually fix our credit, man, it would be hard. It would be harder when we got married. When we actually got married, our credit went up. Everything was good, and we got in a better financial situation. But I really think that financial is very, very important in marriage.
Definitely. Well, thank you for calling. Very, very good point. So I have a question for you, my panelists. I'll go to you, Darlene, and then we'll hear from everybody else. So like the gentleman just mentioned, right? They were engaged, they went to marriage counseling, and they had to pull their credit. Do you guys think it's best to wait after you're engaged to do that? Or should you do that at some point during the dating phase? I'll start with you, Darlene.
So this is the way I see it, right? Like, I'm an adult, you're an adult, right? What we're trying to figure out is, are we compatible from a financial standpoint? I pulled my credit 2 days ago because that's part of my practice. That's part of just being a responsible adult. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on what your goal is. If your goal is just to chill, we don't even have to talk about finances. We're chilling. You see what I'm saying? But if your goal is to determine if you're compatible, by all means, you know. And I think that sometimes when it comes to like finances or even relationships generally, there's this expectation that people are supposed to be like on their A game, like their credit is supposed to be like 800 plus. The reality is this: everything in life is everything. The way I see it is, it's a skill, right? There are people who are exceptional at managing finances, right? And there are people who need to learn how to manage their finances better. You see what I'm saying? My thing is all about the person's attitude. They may have a credit score in the 400s. You see what I'm saying? But are they coming with you with the willingness to say, like, listen, I'm just going to be straight up with you. I have not managed my finances correctly, and I'm just looking to learn. And I'm looking from your end. You have to determine whether it's worth investing. You see what I'm saying? But that's the way I see it. I think that we want to say this romantic idea of what a relationship is. This is the reality of it. The reality is this is me. It's not whether this is compatible, and if it's not, it's not. It's all good. I don't have to hide anything from you, and I don't want you to hide from me. That's it.
Very good point. Very good point. Anyone else want to add to that?
Yeah, let me answer.
I agree with Darlene.
I think Darlene. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I agree with Darlene. I think we're all adults, and it shouldn't be something that we're from. I think, I don't know, I turned 25, and I feel like when I turned 25, like, I don't know, something went off in my head. Like, oh, you know, finance. So I'm just kind of part of, like, daily conversations with my friends, daily routines. Like, I have opening more savings account for certain things that I aspire to have. So already within the relationship, if finances is becoming a daily routine within my day-to-day routine, it's going to naturally come up in our relationship. And me observing react to that will kind of help me gauge where you are or how serious you take your finances. Like, you don't need to be like down to 800. You don't need to. Everyone goes through financial hardships, but I need to know that you're willing to work on it. So this is automatically going to come up because this is who I'm becoming. So me seeing how you react to these conversations will help me gauge where you are mentally regarding your finances.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think I saw a post this month. It was like, if you're not having these conversations with your friends at this moment, you're not working towards like success or something. And that's talking about like investing, financing, budgeting, and all that. And my friend Tati here, I think every week or so we're already talking about like, oh, I found this new app about budgeting, or I found this new app that helps you save. So if I'm already having these conversations with my friends, most definitely I'm going to be having these conversations with somebody that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. So if, like Darlene said, if someone's willing to learn, I love to teach. So if I have something that I know that is benefiting me, I'm going to want to share that with you. As long as he's willing to learn and I'm willing to improve, I'm here to help him improve and help him learn.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much. So I have one more question, guys, because we have to unfortunately end the show. But I have one more question, and I would like to hear from everyone, right? Well, I guess I have to have two questions, because this question is for the guys. So I have another question for the ladies. But gentlemen, someone asked, as men, are we required to provide for a woman? What if she wants to pay for everything? How would you feel? Start with you, ND, and then we'll go to Mule.
Well, at this point, she's basically my second mother, you know, and that wouldn't fit too well with me, you know, especially at my age. I'm working towards independence, and really, it's really not. It's basically the idea is to escape from this whole turmoil of bills and debt and everything. It's to be financially independent, where you are retired or you have a business that's self-sufficient. And I think this would never happen, because I would stop striving towards that goal when I'm dead. At the same time, there may be some temporary setbacks, and I would welcome, any providence that I could receive. The thing is, I think that also ties together with the initial stage of the relationship, where, because she likes me for me, and basically she can see the potential, or not so much the potential, but she understands my essence. She knows what I am about. Then I would welcome, her help temporarily, of course. And really, that's kind of like the thing when they say, are you looking for a queen, or are you looking for, a partner, like they say? And that's a question for, the personal answer. Yeah.
Wow. Some wise words. Mudle, what do you think?
Yes. So, let me say this quote by Lena Turner, right? She's an actress from the 1950s. She says, a successful man is one who makes more money than his wife can spend. A successful woman is one who can find such a man. So you say the inverse of that,
Lord Jesus.
right? So let's say you have a business partnership with someone. I'm not saying that marriage is a business. It's total different things, right? But does that person put 100% of that investment, or you put a portion of it, and he or she put the portion of it, and you put the other portion, right? And it's okay for a woman to be making more money than a man, right? Because right now we live in a different time. Statistically, in the 1950s, women were making about 60% of what men were making, right? And today, a woman's salary is about a man is probably is making around 70% more than men. A man is making about 70%, 70 to 20% more than a woman today. I mean, there's still a big gap, but there's a big change, right? Which means that in the future, right, women who are doing the same job as men would be making the same amount of money or even more, right? You are making more money than me. Okay, I'm not expecting for you to be paying all of my bills, right? If you can put $100, I mean, if you can put $99, I can't put $1 because that's what I have. I would do it. Definitely. We should be both contributing to our marriage, to our relationship. I'm not financially, emotionally, right? Both contributed. Doesn't mean that if you put more and I put less, it's not a problem, because you're making more money than me, right? And I'm making less money than you. You're trying to think about like men should be making more money than women, which is how society perceive it, see that, right? Really, and as a man, sometimes we are so scared to discuss certain topic, because we don't want to offend anyone, really, or perceive in a different way. But those type of things, those type of topics, we need to discuss this, and we should not be afraid, of saying how we feel. We should be talking about those things, right? So it's not an issue for me, for women to be contributing more to a marriage financially, but I'm not expecting for anyone really to pay all the bills, or for me to just sit there and be a gold digger. I don't think this is a way to go. That's a no.
Awesome. And final question for the ladies. So my ladies, 30 seconds each. If you're making more than your man, are you willing to pay for everything? I start with you, Tati. I already know the answer.
No, I am not going to pay for everything because I'm making more. I'm not making all. It is a partnership. We
Wow.
can decide on the bills in terms of like ratio. If I'm making however more than you, obviously in terms of splitting up the bills, it can't be 50-50 because I'm making more. But I am not paying all. Like Andy said, I am not a mother to you. So no, I'm not paying all.
What about you,
Yeah,
Darlene?
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would, as we said before, even having financial meetings, we're both bringing our incomes to the meeting, and we're both
Yeah.
looking at what we each can cover. So if you can cover something with your income, you are covering something, sir. So like we said, just financial meeting, sit down, see what your income can cover. I might be having to cover more than you are because you're making less, but if you can cover one or two bills, that's what we're gonna do.
All right. Last but not least, I want to hear from Darlene.
It's an interesting question. First of all, as a woman, any woman that tells you that she wants to pay for all the bills, she has a control issue. You need to let her go. Okay, and I'm a woman, let her go. In terms of, in terms straight up, in terms of the question, like I cover all the bills. The question is, what is he bringing? I had a conversation with my cousin a couple of years ago, and he was saying that like childcare is like thousands of dollars. You see what I'm saying? So it goes back to this: what makes sense for this business, right? Because don't get it twisted. The reason that you're able to make the money that you're making is because you have somebody home taking care of your kids. You see what I'm saying? So this is the thing. I wholeheartedly believe that a man is not defined by what he makes. No, you bring more to the table, right? Just like I'm not defined by how I cook. It's not. We're not playing those games anymore. You see what I'm saying? It's a matter of what I know how to cook. Don't get that twisted either, right? But the thing is, it comes down to this. It comes down to what makes sense for us, and if it makes sense and it's a mutual agreement that I pay all the bills.
Yeah.
It's I'm paying all the bills because you're bringing a different value. It doesn't have to. My thing is that the currency of a marriage doesn't come down to pay. You see what I'm saying? People bring more value beyond what's financial.
That's
so
right.
it's not simple. Money is a symptom. It's not an issue.
Wow. Wow. So many powerful statements tonight. Wow.
We can have.
Guys, fortunately, all good things must come to an end. Very interesting show tonight. Shout out to the gentleman who shot his shot. Yeah, I think that. Sorry for that, but yeah, this is a platform where we discuss everything, but I don't think it's the best platform for anyone to try to shoot their shot. But yeah. So thank you all for tuning in. We're only 3 episodes away from the end of today's of this season, I should say. So we're ending pretty soon. The last 3 episodes will be part of a series. The series will be called Adulting 101. We'll be discussing moving in and moving out. When is it the right time to move out of your parents' home? Or if you've moved out, can you move back in? We'll be talking about finances as far as, millennials, Gen Zs, and things like that. And last but not least, we have a very interesting topic, y'all. But I'll leave that one for later. So if you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you do that, because this week, if you follow Drop Mic, you share any video on your story, you tag some of your friends, you'll enter for a chance to win a $100 gift card next week. So let's get to work. Let's make it happen. Winner will be announced Friday night in next week's episode. So tune in next Friday. Once again, my name is Ted. Thank you for watching Drop Mic. Have a good night.